What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to another edition of Dangle Betselli, powered by FTN, right here on Game Plus Network. Also live on our FTN Network YouTube page. Chris Meaney and Eric Young here hanging out with you for the next little bit. A light night in the NHL. It is NHL All-Star Week. Just 3 games on tap today. 2 tomorrow, and then we will have a bit of a break. The NHL will return on Monday. Of course, we do have the NHL All-Star festivities happening this weekend. And if you're playing fantasy hockey, if you're in a Yahoo League, in an ESPN League, a Fantrax League, CBS Sports, you know that most likely this is a 2-week period for you. So don't freak out and use all your moves this week. You still have a big week next week, week 17, 2 weeks. Of course, if you're in high stakes, it is just a 1-week period. And there are only a handful of teams playing this week. We have our FTN Fantasy waiver wire article live over at ftnfantasy.com. If you're looking to be part of the family, it's just a couple bucks. Use the promo code Meaney. I will have a playoff guide for all the fantasy hockey people very, very soon, Eric. Something that I've done over the past couple of years, taking a look at the teams that play the most over basically from week 18 to week 24. It's like a couple weeks left to get into the fantasy hockey playoffs. I got fantasy football in my mind. Fantasy hockey playoffs. Just got to get to the dance, and then away you go. So we will have a playoff breakdown, rankings, refresh, all of that stuff over at ftnfantasy.com. Links inside the description. EY, only 3 games, but a lot to talk about here on the show. We got some Stanley Cup odds we want to mention. Bo Horvat got traded yesterday, the first domino that fell, and then t-shirt giveaway. We want to reveal the winner, and I think you have it, right? So just in case you missed out, I want to show you guys the T-shirts. These were the 4 that we decided to have up for grabs. We took all your votes. I really am, as we mentioned in the last episode, so thankful for the support. My goodness, is just really touching. All the support from you guys. You guys rated, you reviewed, you subscribed. Some people made some iTunes accounts just to review and give us the 5 stars. Greatly appreciated. I think we tallied everybody, from DMs to Twitter mentions to emails at meanstreets@ftngmail.com, all of that stuff. So without further ado, EY, what's the winner?
So the winner is the goalie mask one, the Dangle Betselli with the half goalie mask. It was, literally it was separated by, let's see here, literally 4 votes. When I say 4 votes, I mean 4 votes total. Like each shirt had a good amount of votes, and the 1 was separated by 2 by 1 vote, 2 was separated by 3 by 1 vote, and 3 was separated by 4 by 1 vote. So it's pretty crazy to think how close it was. They're all cool designs. Each has its own thing. My pick was the goalie one. That's the one I love because you can see Dangle Betselli very clearly and closely. And if anyone follows wrestling, they know I have an affinity for old goalie masks that I wear during my entrance because I love hockey and I'm a psycho. Yeah, that'll be the shirt. I'm going to get them printed up. Okay, guys, listen. From here on out, the instructions they have to be followed to get your shirt. I will send you a shirt for free if you sent the 5-star review. And that is, you have to direct message me on Twitter at the Eric Young, your street address and what size you need. It has to include both things, or I can't send you a shirt. I'm going to get a bunch printed up. Someone was asking if we can buy one. I mean, you can, but it's easier and cheaper if you just do a 5-star review. We will take entries still. If you want a shirt, that's all you have to do is go to iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. iTunes helps us the most. But wherever you listen to podcasts, give us a 5-star review and a comment. Send the screen capture to me or to Chris. Direct message is the best way. And then your address of where I'm sending the shirt and your size that you need. There will be no refunds because for free.
Yeah, we have Ruben Yu in the house. Great choice Hockey mask one is cool. They're all very cool, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
I think number one was my favorite, but man, it was a hard time for me to make a choice between 1, 3, and 4. And I also love 2 as well. So fantastic stuff. For those that are asking, can we buy one and stuff? Yeah, just as EY said, we're going to give these away as, just our appreciation for you guys and everything that you've done for us here on this show and keeping this show strong. And also, rating, reviewing, subscribing really helps this show grow too. It gets more eyes on it, and it maybe keeps us around hanging out here with you guys on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we won't be here on Thursday. No hockey, as the bit of a pause there. But as Eric mentioned, if you want a shirt, I mean, there's still time, right? Just screen grab, show us that, you already know which one it's going to be. So just screen grab, show us that you have subscribed to this show on iTunes, Spotify, wherever it is that you listen to your favorite podcast. And if you're watching on Game Plus Network, maybe hop on over, subscribe to our FTN Network YouTube page for free. And with that, we are underway. But before we get into the 3 games tonight in the NHL, there are just 3: the Carolina Hurricanes and the Los Angeles Kings. We have Columbus and Washington, and then we have Montreal and Ottawa. And then tomorrow, Carolina going back at it against the Sabres, and then Boston and Toronto to wrap up the first half of the NHL season, the All-Star break, and gets underway. And as I mentioned, rankings, article stuff, teams that play 4 games next week, attacking the schedule, all that stuff can be found over at ftnfantasy.com. Link inside the description of this video, the Week 17 Fantasy Hockey Waiver Wire. But before we get going, there was a trade last night in the NHL. Now, the trade deadline is March 3rd. There's always one team that gets ahead of it first. Usually, I think last year around this time, Montreal traded Tyler Toffoli to the Flames, and it was the first piece, and then the dominoes started to fall after that. Last night, we saw Bo Horvat. We knew that Bo Horvat was going to get traded, Eric. It was only a matter of time, having a career season, 31 goals this year, tied for his career high set last season, 31 goals, but he's only played 49 games. He does have a career high 21.7 shooting percentage, averaging a career high 20.49, 28 points on the power play, 51 overall, 23 assists to go along with his 31 goals in 49 games. The captain of the Vancouver Canucks gone to the New York Islanders, which is a little bit of a surprise for Anthony Beauvillier. Atu, the Islanders' top prospect, and a protected 2023 first-round pick. This is top 12 protected, so if it is a top 12 pick, the Canucks won't get it. It would be next year's first-round pick in 2024. What'd you make of the move? What do you make of the deal? Bo Horvat with the Islanders. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Obviously it's interesting anytime when a big piece like this is moved. For people, psychos like me, that will watch the trade deadline from early in the morning until it's over. This is a bit of a bummer because that means to me, probably the biggest piece on the market has been dealt already. I think it's smart for the Islanders to make this move now, get him in, get him acclimated, get him learning the system, figure out where he fits. My initial take and my honest take is that I don't think this really helps the Islanders in really any way. I get that he scored a bunch of goals this year, but this is not the player he is. You mentioned his shooting percentage is as astronomical. It will regress to the mean. And he's a great player. He's a great leader. But the Islanders need somebody that can just score goals. And that is not the player that Horvat is. They have a bunch of Bo Horvats on the team already, right? Kind of solid center, good in every situation, 200-foot player. But other than this year, he's not a pure goal scorer. Like, this is not the player that he is. And good for Bo Horvat. I think that Lou Lamoriello probably did well. Beauvillier hasn't played well. Ratty is a prospect, but that's a question mark, and they're trying to win now. So at least he tried. At least he's doing something as the general manager. But I don't think that this improves this team enough to be bothered. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just don't. I don't view him as the kind of piece that they needed.
I think they're a few pieces away, certainly. It was puzzling to see that the Islanders were on the other side of this deal just because they're a couple points out of a playoff spot and they played more games than most teams. There's a couple teams hanging out in a wild card spot that have like 2 or 3 games in hand. I think it's exactly what the Islanders need, honestly. I really do. I mean, this team is they don't score any goals. They have the second worst power play in the NHL. We just talked about Horvat and the power play points that he provides to this team. I mean, 28 power play points is significant. He's got 6 20-goal seasons on his NHL resume. 6 of the last 7 years, he scored 20 goals. The one season he didn't, he was stuck on 19 in a very shortened season in 2020. So he's a great faceoff man. He's one of the better faceoff mans in the league, and he can provide some offensive fire punch. It's just a little puzzling because it is the Islanders, right? And because he doesn't have he's a rental, right? I mean, there's reports that there's no contract talks at all. The Islanders in 3 weeks look like they could be out of the playoffs. Maybe they turn around and they flip him again. It is a bit risky of a move. I like when GMs do this, though. I like when they take a shot, they take a chance, but I always wonder I can never figure out the Islanders. I can never figure out what they are. Yeah. It's like a middle of the pack team. Ilya Sorokin's one of the best goalies in the league. I think he's a top 3 goalie in the NHL. When you have goaltending like that, you could go on a run. Ask the Montreal Canadiens. Montreal Canadiens, in what was a weird season in 2020, in the bubble and the whole divisions, North Division, that was a team that went to the Stanley Cup Finals scoring like 2 goals a game in the playoffs. They don't need a whole lot when you have Sorokin between the pipes, but I just wonder, because you mentioned Lou, he has traded a lot of his top prospects and his picks over the past couple of years. I mean, he's traded a first-round pick in 2020, 2021, 2022, and now 2023. These are picks that are gone for, just average players, really. Alexander Romanov, Travis Zajac, Zach Parise. Like, these are just some players that didn't really – Kyle Palmieri, right? It's just like didn't really seem to work out. I don't love their roster. All of a sudden, they're pretty deep down the middle, though. I wonder if they put Matthew Barzal on the wing.
That's my thing.
On that first line.
They didn't need another center. Right, like
but they needed some offensive firepower. They needed somebody to score goals. Barzal doesn't score any goals, man. He doesn't.
No, that's true.
And but he makes $9.1 million to.
Other than this year, Horvat doesn't either. I mean,
but he does. He's got 20. He's got 6 20-goal seasons. That's pretty solid.
20 goals is that's.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot, and he's going to get like 10 million probably. They do. They need a couple, and maybe they're not done. Maybe they're not done. Maybe they're going to be super aggressive here. Maybe they go out and get a winger and add. Again, I'm looking at this team now, and you're right. They have a lot of centers. Horvat, Barzal, John Gabriel Pajot is another guy that they flipped.
Nelson
picks, one of them first. Brock Nelson. Cizikas has been playing on the first line, right? Cizikas is a nice player, but let's be real. He's not a first-line player. So I think we have to maybe revisit this after, if the Islanders don't make the playoffs and they aren't able to sign Bo Horvat. It kind of looks like a silly deal at the end of the day. It looks like a panic trade. And I think the Canucks just did okay. You mentioned Ratty. He's an okay prospect. We're not going to give up on him. He's still fairly young. The Islanders prospect pool is very thin. So to hear that they got their top prospect is not super exciting. You mentioned Beauvillier. Maybe a change of scenery could do him good. He's still young, right? Mid-20s, but he doesn't even have a 40-point season on his resume. So I don't feel like he's all that spectacular, and his contract is not really that great. It's all about the pick, right? The first round pick. But I'm surprised, man. I thought maybe it'd be a steeper price, but I'm thinking EY, most teams are probably a little cautious because of the fact where he really is just a rental, and they could lose him in the summer. And if this team if they only win like one of their next 8 or 2 of their next 6 or 7 before March 3rd, maybe they trade him. Maybe he's traded again. I wouldn't be shocked. That could happen.
That would be wild. I can't remember that happening.
No, me neither.
I mean, I can't remember that ever happening. I mean, obviously it could happen, but I feel like, him being traded there like that and then flipping him, like you lose your first round pick, you lose arguably your best prospect. Like you said, they don't have a ton, but the ones that they do have, they probably need to be holding on to. Look, Lou Lamoriello isn't going to do this for much longer. I mean, he's probably the oldest GM in the league. I don't know that for sure, but I would say that he's definitely top 3. People thought he was going to retire 2 or 3 years ago, and he's still doing it. He is one of the best to ever do it. I mean, some of his rules are absolute nonsense, and I believe that it stops. Players don't want to play there because of that. Like, Look, man, it's 2023. If I want to grow a mustache, I'm going to grow a fucking mustache. It's
Yeah.
those kind of rules are just complete
Yeah.
nonsense. It doesn't change anything about the play on the ice. I'm all for rules and structure and discipline, but these are men. This isn't a high school hockey team. These are adults. They have children, and you're telling them that they can't grow a goatee. Like, come on, man, it's pathetic.
It's like the Yankees, right? No facial hair with the Yankees too. It is a little silly for sure. I think it could be. I think you have to. I mean, they're obviously in. They're being aggressive here. You don't make this move unless you feel like you're going to go on a push or make the playoffs. But they got a lot of work to make up.
They've been right there, right? They've been so close.
They have, but like Washington and Pittsburgh holding down the final two wildcard spots, 58, 57 points. Buffalo's got 56. The Islanders have 55. The Sabres have played 3 more games. The Penguins have played 3 more games. It seems like Carolina, New Jersey, and the Rangers are locked in. They would need a crazy collapse to not make the playoffs. And I think the only 2 teams that they could catch are Washington and Pittsburgh. Those are the 2 teams. So you're battling all of a sudden with Washington, Pittsburgh, Buffalo. I mean, the Panthers are right there, tied with you, 1 point back, same amount of games played. I don't think the Flyers are getting in, but heck, I mean, the Flyers are only 4 points back at the Islanders with a game in hand. So maybe this is another move. It seems like for me, it would have to be like if I was an Islanders fan, it's like, okay, you're going for it. Now what? You got to make another move. You got to get a winger. Vladimir Tarasenko is out there. Maybe I don't know if they had conversations.
That's the player they needed.
Could you give us Brock too, like Brock Besser maybe, and we give you another pick? I don't know if there's conversations like out there, but there are more dominoes to fall. I think, especially on Vancouver's side, you're going to start to see them ship some more players as well. And thinking and looking overall at this Canucks squad, like what a mess.
The Vancouver Canucks are an absolute disaster.
They re-upped with JT Miller last year, and it's a massive mistake. It seems like a massive mistake. What could they have gotten at last year? He had a career year, 100-point season. Could have got so many pieces from this guy at the deadline, and then maybe re-up with their captain instead. But man,
it's a very puzzling move.
Very puzzling move, I think, on both sides. Don't really love the return for Vancouver. Again, I like the risk, I like the gamble here for the Islanders. I don't mind it. But it is very risky. Let's see if they're done. Let's see if they make another move, if they add another piece offensively. I see some people in the chat talking about Tarasenko. Tarasenko could justify this piece, right? As Hammerhead Union checks in on Dangle Batsell, he could justify this piece, add another prolific goal scorer, more so of a prolific goal scorer than Bo Horvat, a guy that can help them out on the power play. And then maybe they can make some news here, make some noise down the stretch. I want to say hello to everybody in the house. Diehard MMA podcast. He says he was really hoping Horvat would go to Seattle. That's the start of a new rivalry, I think, between those 2 squads, Vancouver, Seattle. I don't know how that would fit with Vancouver fans. And I don't know how aggressive the Kraken are going to be. I don't feel like a Vegas Golden Knights squad. I think they're going to stay the course. They may make a move or 2. I don't know if they're trading picks and prospects away for a rental. It doesn't seem like something Ron Francis will do, but I'll take it with the Islanders. I like them too. Troy's always in the house talking about the prospects for the Blue Jackets, and we love you for that. Yeah, Marchenko's getting picked up in season-long leagues, playing on the top line for the Blue Jackets. What's up, Troy? Good morning, Hammerhead. Look at these guys. You're so nice. Marchenko reminds me of Timo Meier, 6'3", 200 pounds. I think that could be the next. We could see Timo Meier get traded. There's some reports there. Ryan O'Reilly. I know the Leafs were in on Bo Horvat. Could see Ryan O'Reilly with the Leafs, man. That would be an interesting move. What else do we have here? Just people saying hello to everybody. Islanders, another piece will help justify this trade is pretty much what a lot of people are saying here. Troy says the Islanders should have got Tarasenko. It could still happen, guys. We could see it. And I do think that this is going to be the case. Move Barzal to the wing. Can't win any faceoffs. He's not a great faceoff guy. Put him with Bo Horvat. I think that's what you're going to see, those duo together. And Dustin, EY dropping F-bombs on a Tuesday morning.
Sorry, boys.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. F hammer. Rolling face emoji. Rolling face emoji. PTP, Jordan Allen in the house. All right. Let's we only have 3 games, as we mentioned. We do have some Stanley Cup odds and also Norris Trophy could be a nice little battle towards the end. I took a look at the Rocket and Hart. It's all Connor McDavid, right? I mean, Connor McDavid is minus 700 to win the Hart. He's a favorite to win the Rocket. And then after that, it's David Pastrnak and then a couple other guys like Robertson and Tage Thompson. So there aren't a lot of intriguing races down the stretch. I suppose maybe the Calder, Matty Beniers is going to miss the All-Star game. He's hurt right now. We could see Mason McTavish or Logan Thompson go on a run down the stretch. We do have a Logan Thompson ticket on this show, and we'd be pretty happy, I think, if he went on a run down the stretch. But that would mean that Beniers would miss some time. We certainly don't want to see these players sidelined. But for now, we will just start to talk about the matchups first. So let's get into Carolina. The Hurricanes on home ice here tonight. Prop shop parlay calculator, your friends, minus 200 for the Hurricanes and plus 180 for the Los Angeles Kings. Both tools free over at ftnbets.com. We have a total here of 6. Sebastian Aho on the board. This guy has been shooting like a psycho. I'm always afraid to take a shot prop because I don't really view him as a volume shooter. It's a little bit juicier today. He does have goals in 4 straight games. He has 7 goals over that span. He has 13 shots on goal over his last 2 games. He has cleared 2.5 shots in 5, 6, 7 of his past 8 games. And he really is on a heck of a run, Eric. He's had points now in 9 straight games. He's got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 points over that span and 10 goals. Pretty good. Sebastian Aho is probably one of the hottest players in the NHL at the moment.
Yeah, not bad at all, man. A player that I've always liked. I feel like his scoring has always kind of been a bit of a disappointment. Like, great player, great vision. The assists are always there, but it seems like he is shooting the puck more this year. Most of the time we're saying, Svetch is the guy, the shooter, the scorer, but Aho is keeping pace, which is great to see and really good for the Carolina Hurricanes.
What do you like in tonight's game? Do you feel like a potential upset here, or you like in Hurricanes? I mean, it's hard not to go with Sebastian Aho right now to continue this pace.
Yeah, I love the Kings. I still got a soft spot for them, but the Carolina Hurricanes are one of the hottest teams in the NHL, and Aho is one of the hottest players. I'm going away from Aho on the Carolina side. I'm going Svechnikov at plus 210 and Teravainen at 330. And then LA, I got Fiala and Kempe.
Yeah, I was looking at Teravainen, man. I just weird year from him, right? I know he missed a little bit of time with some injury, and he was on the 4th line for a little bit. I got him in the bet tracker to have an assist tonight at plus 142. I think that's a bet I like a little bit more than him to score a goal. I'm gonna go with Aho. Aho shots minus 143, 2.5. It's a little bit steep, but I'm going to go with him to score a goal tonight. I will also go with Svechnikov to score a goal, and then Kempe. Kempe's been shooting quite a bit, but this is a Hurricanes team that's pretty stingy, man. They don't give up a whole lot. They're one of the best 5-5 teams in the NHL overall, 5-5 per 60. They've allowed the fewest shot attempts in the NHL, 44.92 at 5-5 per 60. They have also allowed the fewest shots at 24. Their goals against is 1.98, so it's the second fewest in the NHL. Their expected goals against is the number 1 mark in the NHL. This all from Natural Stat Trick. The scoring chances against, number 1 in the NHL. The high danger chances allowed, number 4 in the NHL. The Wild, number 1, the Golden Knights, followed by the Devils, and then you get into the Carolina Hurricanes here. So they just don't give up a whole lot. So it's really tough to get behind any of these Kings guys. But Adrian Kempe has been shooting. And also, LA is pretty. They're pretty nicked up, man. They're dealing with some stuff here, some injuries across the lineup. Just take a look at their latest lineup. I mean, they're without some dudes. Look like Arvidsson's back here. Fiala's still playing on the 3rd line, but look who Fiala's playing with. Zott and like Anderson Dolan. What the heck's that all about, man? You got to switch that up. Like,
he has been down on the
like
3rd
getting
line.
some time on the top line for a while, but now like Velarde's out of the lineup and like Trevor Moore's out of the lineup. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I think they need to mix it up just a little bit. I guess that's what they're working with.
Yeah, I mean, mix it up. I mean, also kind of spreading out your scoring. They brought Byfield up, and he's been playing on the top line on the wing, which is not his natural position. He's a centerman. It's a little odd, right? But you would expect Fiala to play in the top 6, but he's still playing top power play, still scoring a ton. And I feel like they're just trying to spread their scoring around because of the injuries of Velarde and both Trevor Moore. Trevor Moore was having a great season, man. It's too bad.
Yeah, he really was. So the Kings had won 4 or 3 in a row before the loss to Tampa Bay, but I do like the Hurricanes here on home ice to get it done. Want to check in. There's some people here chiming in with some stuff. Yeah, everybody likes the Hurricanes. Nature's goal, Aho goal, Burns assist, all that good stuff there. Yeah, I was looking at Copley saves, but I couldn't find them. But I would probably take the over just with the Hurricanes and the way that they give up so much rubber. He had 45 saves in his last matchup against the Florida Panthers. It could be a very similar showing tonight. Carolina also playing tomorrow as well. And I think Frederik Andersen survived an injury, but my goodness, man, this guy, the Hurricanes, it's every single year. It's the same thing, right, Eric? It's the goaltending. Yeah, they're going to have the goaltending to make a push and go on a run. Andersen left a game a couple days ago, but he did return and play the Bruins and played really good in that 4-1 victory. But the Hurricanes have won 5 straight games and 7 of their last 8, and the one loss somehow came against the Vancouver Canucks. So I'm another TiVo assist. I like Aho. I like Svechnikov. I like Kempe if I'm choosing a king, but Aho shots, Kempe shots. And I saw Svechnikov was juiced at 2.5 in our prop shop. Minus 147 isn't too bad over at Caesars. I'm seeing minus 167 in a couple of spots as well. So that's not too bad. Anything else to add in this game before we move on?
No, I think it will be pretty interesting, man. I still, like I said, I got a soft spot for LA. I think if they can get some goaltending, this could be a very dangerous team, but that's a big if right now, right? Like Copley came in and kind of saved their season. He's kind of fallen off. Quick doesn't seem like Jonathan Quick. So yeah, something's got to give there. I don't know what's going to happen, but something's got to give if the LA Kings want to find themselves in the playoff mix and if they want to make a real push.
A lot on my mind here this morning. I can't believe, like, my actually favorite play from this game, I didn't even mention it. Like, we're almost done. We talked about it for 5 minutes. I have it in the bet tracker. I didn't even mention my favorite play. It's actually Seth Jarvis. I'm feeling him.
Yeah, he's been playing good. I picked him up this morning in a league.
Yeah, I picked him up in a couple this week as well because the Hurricanes today and tomorrow, and it's a weird week. In a high stakes league, he was a lot of people spent some money because of 1 week. It's just 1 week, right? A lot of teams. I think there's only 8 teams that play games from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Hurricanes got 2 of them. So Seth Jarvis scored in his last game. He's actually hasn't been that great. I had him all over the season-long draft package, and he hasn't been fantastic. Kind of like a little bit of a letdown, even though he has 8 goals on the season. But he did score in his last game, and he has been shooting. I mean, he's got at least 2 shots in 3 of his last 4. I mean, you can go back all the way to January 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of his last 10 games. He's had at least 2 shots. His shot prop's at 1.5. He's plus 112 for a point, which I do like quite a bit. I think he hits a score sheet tonight. He's plus 200 for an assist, but he is plus 350 to score a goal tonight. There's not a lot of action on the board tonight, guys. Like, there's a lot of favorites on the board, too. The 3 teams that are in action that are favorites are pretty big favorites. So Seth Jarvis, plus 112 for a point, plus 350 for a goal. And I may even put like 0.25 units on the plus 200 for an assist here tonight. He is playing with TiVo and Sebastian Aho, and he is getting some power play time as well. It's not on that first unit, but he is getting some PP time. So I wanted to wrap up with that. Seth Jarvis tonight here tonight at Carolina PNC Arena. Let's head over to Nationwide Arena, where Troy's just been sitting on the edge of his seat. Just can't wait to talk about the Blue Jackets. We have the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Washington Capitals in action tonight. Backstrom on the board. Had a nice little game from Backstrom the other night. In fact, he's starting to hit the score sheet a little bit lately. We have the Blue Jackets checking in at, let's give you the live odds here. The live odds, plus 175 for Columbus and minus 200 for the Capitals, a total of 6.5. Take it away, EY. What you got going on over there?
On the Washington side, look, I still think Ovi scores. It's just kind of what he's done. I know it's negative odds. He's negative 115 on FanDuel. And Dylan Strome is playing some really important minutes, kind of like the forgotten guy. I know Backstrom is back, but Dylan Strome is still centering the top line and centering the top power play. So I like that. Columbus Blue Jacket side, line A at plus 152. And I'm in lockstep with Troy. Marashenko at plus 220. He scored a ton. Still doesn't have an assist. I think they call it like a Cy Young or whatever they call it. So I don't think I'm betting on him to have an assist because he doesn't have one yet. But dude's a shooter. I picked him up in our salary cap league, which is great because he's like 800,000, and I can move him up and down for minors and whatever. So it's a great player to have. And he's been scoring and playing important minutes. Everybody's hurt in Columbus, but it's great to see a rookie like this step up. Big dude, shoots the puck well, going to be a real player for them. So it's good to see.
It is good to see. He does not have an assist, and you can't bet on him to have an assist. Books are like, this guy's not getting any assists. He's a puck hog. Are you kidding me? He's not scoring. He's not getting any assists. He's got 13 goals in the season. He's got 4 goals over his last 4 games. He played 1903 in his last game. It may not feel like a lot, but guys, that's significant because he's averaging 13 minutes per game on the season. And the 1903 is the most that he's played in the NHL. I am in and on it as well. Troy's just all over it, man. Mashenko, he's no joke. He is no joke. And I agree. I am in on him to score as well. Let's all get on this one together. I like Seth Jarvis slightly more, but plus 280 over at FanDuel for him to find the back of the net, playing with Boone Jenner and Johnny Gaudreau up on that top line. I also like Boone Jenner to have some shots here tonight. You know what? Boone Jenner, I know we've talked about him a lot, but man, he's one of my favorite fantasy hockey players. He just touches so many categories, and I play in a lot of those leagues with faceoffs and hits, and he had 4 shots in his last game since he's been back in the lineup. He's got 3 goals. He's got points in 4 of his last 5. He picked up a power play point the other night, plays a lot, played 22-32 the other night. And there's been roughly 9 games that he's played. And, he's living in that 20-minute mark. And a couple games here, 1 game with 7 shots against the Flames, 5 against the Sharks, 4 against your Preds, double-digit face-off wins, throws his body around, blocks some shots as well. He's minus 136 for 3 shots tonight. So I'm going to take a shot on Boone Jenner. I've been going to line A. I don't really like that line A. He's on that second line. He's been pretty quiet lately, just 1 shot in the last 2 games. When he was shooting, he was playing with Johnny Hockey. I know that Boone Jenner was out of the lineup, but, I'd like him back up on that lineup. Marchenko's, kind of taken that spot on that top right side of the first line. So I think Johnny Hockey for an assist, I think that's in play as well. If we get the goal from Kirill, then we'll get the assist from Johnny Hockey, and away we go. What else is here? Blue Jackets money line upset. I mean, Capitals are not very impressive in my opinion. I think they're pretty overrated. What did you like on the other side? Did you mention anything on the other side? I do have one thing in the bet tracker, and it was Ovechkin over 1.5 points at plus 162 and the over 4.5 shots at minus 114. You guys know I'm a shot prop guy, but I like the Ovechkin shot prop. And I think, a 2-point night is certainly in play. I remember now you liked Strome. Any love for Backstrom at all? Is it because Backstrom's still on that third line, but we touched on him a couple weeks ago as a sell high candidate, but he's slowly, he hadn't played a hockey in quite some time, right? I think he's slowly starting to come around a little bit. He's got points in 3 of his last 4 games. He's still not playing a ton, but he's shooting a little bit more. He's got at least 2 shots now. In 7 straight games. He scored in his last game. Any love for Backstrom from a season-long standpoint? If you saw this guy on your waiver wire, would you pick him up, or is he just like he's not a big enough volume shooter for you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think in certain leagues, and depending on roster construction, in deeper leagues, of course, in shallower leagues, I think he still has something to prove. Like coming back from an injury like that, people weren't even sure, himself included, if that he was going to play again. And I feel like his play is starting to round out to be Nicholas Backstrom again. But like you said, he's not playing a ton of minutes, which is smart by Washington, right? They're kind of easing him back in. Hasn't played hockey in a long time. Had a really bad injury, and one that a lot of people have troubles bouncing back from. So a guy that doesn't score a ton, a guy that doesn't shoot a ton. Look, as far as a hockey player, he's amazing. But as far as a fantasy asset, I feel he's always been kind of overrated. and now people are catching on. Is like he just doesn't touch enough categories, and playing on the third line is problematic for me.
Yeah, it is. I don't really like his spot in the lineup, right? I mean, I think he should be playing up front with Ovechkin, but Strome is playing pretty good hockey. One more guy I wanted to throw out there, some pretty good odds on TJ Oshie. Sure, I mean, the upset could be in play here, but let's also consider what the Blue Jackets are. They're a team that gives up more rubber than anybody. They don't really have strong goaltending. They have a lot of holes up and down their lineup. They're just not a really good hockey team. I'm sorry, Troy. Troy knows that. They're not. But TJ Oshie playing up on that top line. Didn't score for us the other night, but he has been shooting. He's plus 110 for 3 shots tonight. That's over at DraftKings, over at Caesars. FanDuel, he's plus 116. Ooh, that's a better price. Prop Shop is your friend, people. Man, let's go. 116 for 3 shots over at FanDuel. He's plus 240 for an assist. Oshie on the top line, first power play, playing with Ovechkin. Greatest goal scorer we've ever seen in our lives. Could get an assist here tonight. He's minus 104 for a point, TJ Oshie. That actually may be my favorite play of the day, TJ Oshie for a point. What else do we got here? Stuff. You guys are just all over it here. It's tough to keep up with everything you got going on. Hammerhead Union has plays. Dude loves plays, goals, 2 goals, over 1.5 points. Ovechkin. Let's just make it a hat trick. Let's just make it a hat trick on this show. Last time we called it Ovi hat trick, it actually happened. He got a hat trick, and that's the key, right? Embrace the tank, develop the kids. Strome assists. Oshie assists, plays. Do you like the upset? If there's an upset tonight, LA over Carolina, Columbus over Washington, or Montreal over Ottawa, what's the most likely upset that could happen here this evening with the 3 games on the slate?
It's LA for me. I still love this team. I do. And I think just getting a rhythm in goal will make them a very dangerous team. And I think if there's an underdog that's most likely to happen, it's the Kings. They're the most set up to make that happen.
I would agree with that. I was on the upset over the weekend when these two teams played each other, Montreal and Ottawa, and it did not work out in my favor. In fact, I thought the Canadians played pretty good, but same old story. These guys can't score any goals, and they live in the penalty box, and the Sens made quick work of the Montreal Canadiens. And as mentioned by one of our viewers here, the only goalie confirmed, and this was confirmed yesterday, is Jake Allen. We appreciate that. Richard. Hopefully I got that right. Jake Allen is in net tonight for the Montreal Canadiens. I like a lot on the Ottawa side. There's a guy that's heating up. His name is Claude Giroux. He is playing here with the Ottawa Senators. Montreal was rumored to get him a couple of years ago. Of course, they're rumored to get a lot of French Canadians, but Claude Giroux is a top 10 fantasy hockey player over the last 2 weeks. He has 4 goals and 9 points. He checks in riding a 4-game point streak in which he has 4 goals over that span, and he has 8 points, and he's shooting. He's got 10 shots in his last 2 games. He's not a big shooter. I was tempted to take his shot prop. It's plus 115 for 3 shots, but he's somehow plus 130 for an assist. He's got an assist in 4 straight games. He's got 5 assists over his last 6 games. I like that play quite a bit. He's minus 160 for a point. I'd put that into a parlay with some other guys that are a little bit more juiced, right? You can go Aho maybe for a point. You can go maybe you can go Goudreau for a point. I think maybe Goudreau gets one, and then you can chuck in Claude Giroux if you want to. But plus 130 for an assist. He is red hot, so plus 235 for a goal is intriguing as well. But my favorite goal scorer from this game is Alex DeBrincat. I'm really looking at that second line, EY DeBrincat, Ridley Gregg, who was called up last week and who's been shooting quite a bit. I mean, he's only played 3 games. He had 8 shots in his first game. He's got 10 in 3 games. He's got 2 points in just the 3 games. And 2 of those points are on the power play. So this kid's getting some opportunity here, playing with Giroux, playing with DeBrincat, playing on the power play with Claude Giroux. And the Canadians are just a bloody mess. So I know that you got some goal scorers over there. DeBrincat for me, Giroux assists. I like Tim Stützle shots, and Brady Tkachuk put into a parlay. I think he gets 4 shots as well. I think the Sens will probably put another 3 or 4 goals up on the Canadians tonight.
Yeah, on the Sens side, I got Tkachuk and DeBrincat. We're in lockstep with DeBrincat. He's been shooting. He's kind of back to his Chicago ways, right? Like he's not playing.
He's moving, clicking now, yeah.
he's not playing with Kane, but he's playing with some good players, and it's really starting to click there. And on the Montreal side, Kirby Dach and Suzuki, I mean, those are the only two players I feel comfortable with. Dach has stepped up, and we said this last week, and he's continuing to do that. Like you said, this is a bad hockey team that is devoid of goal scorers, and just really, like, overall, they're just not built to win. Their only hope is that Caulfield was going to have an unbelievable season, and he was. Now he's out for the year, and they're in big trouble. I think they're not as much trouble as Vancouver. Vancouver they're a disaster, right? Like, Montreal's just young and regrouping, but Vancouver's got so much money on the books and just questionable decisions and signing players that shouldn't be signed, and it's a wild group of players, and it's an absolute disaster. Montreal, I think in the next year or two could be pretty competitive, but I think the Sens win this, and I think they win it in a big way tonight.
Yeah, the difference between the two teams is the Canadians know that they want to rebuild, right? They figured that out. They're rebuilding. They're going to go through this process. It's going to be a long process. They got some great picks. I mean, they had like 5 or 6 kids that were checking a lot of boxes for me in the World Juniors, and they're going to get a couple more here in this. I mean, they got 2 first-round picks this year. They're going to have Florida's first-round pick. They got their own, which could be a top pick as well. So there's a lot there going on in Montreal. But yeah, it's a mess. The thing with Suzuki. The thing with Suzuki is, he's due for a goal. He's missing his guy, man, Cole Caulfield. Like, he seems lost right now. He's playing with Rem Pitlick. Like, come on, give me a break. And Suzuki doesn't want to shoot the puck, man. Like, it's in his nature to pass. He's doing everything that he can. Yeah, he's due for a goal. I think he's got 1 in his last 18 or 19. But when I watch him, he does not shoot the puck, unfortunately. I just don't know where the goals are going to come from. I like Kirby Dach, though. I think that was a pretty good call there, Kirby Dach. We got burned the other night. Kirby Dach got burned significantly with the shot prop. I went to him, and I was like, my goodness, man, he's been shooting in the last 4 games. 4 shots, 3 shots. I bet on him 1 shot, and then 3 shots the other night. What I said last week stays true. He's playing a lot, at least 21 minutes in 4 straight, 22, 24, 22. He's plus 143, plus 148 for 3 shots tonight. A guy that's going to play 22, 23 minutes a night. I got to put him on the board. Like, it's a plus money play. Just with Oshie, with Kempe. These are like my long shots. I got to put him on the board. But I do like Tim Stützle for 2.5 shots to clear that one. Giroux for a point, Giroux for an assist, DeBrincat for a goal. I think Tkachuk could go into a parlay, like a 2-leg parlay. I think would be good. Would be Aho and Brady Tkachuk, 2 juice guys. Maybe you put Ovechkin in there, slightly juiced, but those are like the shooters tonight that I like quite a bit. We do have to get out of here. I did see a comment here from Rich Pasta. What's your favorite line on the slate for DFS as we get out of here? What's the line tonight in the NHL for DFS, Eric, for some goals? Is that top line, Sebastian Aho and company? I would think, for me personally, and I like to kind of pick on the Habs, I would just watch all their hockey, so I guess kind of see it firsthand. This is an undisciplined team playing with a lot of rookies. Jake Allen hasn't been great. I would take a look at that second line for the Sens. I know Tkachuk and Stützle are a nice combination. Playing with Matthew Joseph, I don't really like, but man, Greg is cheap. Giroux, DeBrincat. Giroux is feeling it. DeBrincat's kind of getting into a bit of a groove. And Greg's looked pretty good. I can't find any props for him. I'd be interested in a point or maybe a shot or two. But I think that's the line for me in DFS tonight. That's where I would go. Where would you go, Eric? Give us a line here before we get out of here.
Yeah, I love that second line for Ottawa. A good value you could probably find. I'm not looking at DFS prices right now, but the second line in Columbus, and Kent Johnson and Kirill Mashenko, they're both playing important minutes, playing on the second line, and most importantly, playing on the top power play together. So I would pair those guys, and then you could go more expensive for your second center and wing, but that would be a good place to start.
And yeah, we got some stuff here. Tkachuk goal. We got Double I Strong. What's your one favorite goal scorer? EY, you take it away. Wrap us up with some goal scorers, and then maybe give us your favorite one at the end, and I'll do the same.
All right, so the goal scorers I got for tonight is Ovi, Strome, Line, Marchenko, Kachuk, DeBrincat, Doc, Suzuki, Fiala, Kempe, Teravainen, Svechnikov. My it's not an 8-way, it's a 4-way parlay. But I'd go Svech, Ovi, Line, DeBrincat, and I think my favorite tonight would be DeBrincat.
It's my favorite too. That's my favorite too. We're lockstep. There it is. We got to get it. We got to get it. We got to get the goal. That's the favorite one. Rich, no problem. No problem. A little DFS talk. FTNdaily.com/free. If you haven't signed up yet, free 3-day trials. We have articles every day in the DFS land. We got an NHL one already. Projections tools, Discord channel. We got cheat sheets, telling you guys who we're playing, a percentage of who we're playing. You can sign up for free for 3 days. You can take a look at the golf optimizer, NFL optimizer, NBA optimizer, a lot of DFS content over at FTNdaily.com. If you're looking for a little bit more, we got some values and things like that, strategy pieces. And the Discord channel is lit. For shot props, I like, let's see. I got a couple written down here. Aho, Kempe, Svechnikov, Boone Jenner, TJ Oshie, Kirby Dach, Tim Stützle, Brady Kachuk. I like Oshie for a point, -104. I like Teuvo Teravainen for a point. I'm going to take there's good odds for Oshie to have an assist, Teuvo to have an assist, Claude Giroux for an assist at +130. I like quite a bit. Seth Jarvis tonight for a point, +112. Taking some long shots here for a goal after DeBrincat. I'm with EY. I like DeBrincat to score a goal. I like Sebastian Aho to score a goal. And I like, it's not breaking news, but I like Ovechkin to score a goal tonight against the Blue Jackets. My longer shots would be Seth Jarvis, TJ Oshie, and I don't think there's really a long shot Sen that I like. I guess the one with the best odds between Kachuk, Stützle, DeBrincat, and would be Giroux. But we do like DeBrincat here on this show. All right, we're going to get out of here. We didn't visit Cup odds, but we'll do it another time. Hopefully you guys have a great week. We'll take a week off here. We'll be back on Tuesday. Dangle Bet Selly. Rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend. And also, we're going to reach back out to you, but it would be very helpful if you reach back out to us. Mean Streets FTN @gmail.com, at the Eric Young, at Chris Meaney. Right there, the Twitter handles for you guys. Let us know your address. We'll get these shirts made up, and then we will send you a shirt. And we do appreciate all the
address and size,
all the support. That's right, address and size. At the Eric Young, at Chris Meaney, Mean Streets at FTN@gmail.com. And with that, we are out of here. You guys take care. Have a good one. Any questions, you guys can hit us up at any moment. You know that. Good luck on the ice. We'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.